Okay, in lesson 3, I'm going to stick with some strumming patterns here. We're going to focus on the right hand, on the pick hand. Okay, for all the examples in lesson 3, I'm just holding onto a 5th fret power chord. I'm not going to move at all. I'm not going to change chords at all. This lesson is all about your pick hand, okay, and strumming. And as you notice on the website, I've included sheet music in this example. A lot of the examples have been just tablature, but in this one I've got the sheet music. And I know sometimes it's a little scary for people, but I want you to see it. I want you to look at it, try to examine it, and understand a little bit about it, because I'm expecting that, hey, maybe you've got a songbook at home and there's going to be patterns just like the ones you're seeing here. I want you to understand them a little bit, okay? I'm not going to show you every rhythm pattern in the world so that you're going to become an expert sight reader, but at least you'll get some idea of how these things work from this lesson right here. In the first example here, we're going to talk about straight eighths, which is something we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks anyway. But here you see how it's actually written in sheet music. And you see that there are 2 groups of 4, and they have a horizontal line across the top. That's called a beam. We count this 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. And with a pattern like this, especially when we're playing power chords, or bar chords, or heavy rock stuff, we're going to do all down strums for this. If we were doing a similar pattern but using acoustic-y open string chords, we'd probably be doing more of a alternate strumming pattern. We'll dig into some lessons like that later in the course. Right now I want you to just get these power chords. When we're playing a power chord thing, straight eighths, it's all down strums. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's one measure. And even if you can't read the sheet music, you gotta be able to at least count this out. Because what happens when you have 4 measures in a row and you can't count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and? Well, then you don't know when the 4 measures is over and time to change to the next chord. You're going to change at the wrong time. If you're trying to play with a buddy, you're going to mess him up, okay? So just learn how to do this. It's not hard. You're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you're just strumming on each of those. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If I were to do multiple measures, I could either do this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I could count it that way, but the preferred way is actually every time I start a new measure, instead of saying the number 1, I say the measure number. So if it's the second measure, I say 2 and 2 and 3 and 4. Third measure, 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, watch this. 4 measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? That's the way you count multiple measures. That way you know which measure you're on. That way you know when it's time to change. But I'll tell you what, also, after you've been doing this for a while, your body just starts to feel the count. You won't always have to count it out loud. You'll just feel it. If you're playing a 12-bar blues, if you're playing blues-based rock or blues music or blues-based country, pretty soon the number of measures is just an innate feeling in you, and you'll just know when it's time to change. But it's very helpful, especially if you're more of a beginner, to learn to count this out in the beginning, okay? Okay, exercise 2, we're going to do a slightly different pattern called the gallop. And it's called the gallop because it sounds like a horse galloping down the road. We're going to change up now. It's not going to be all down strums, okay? And it's going to be like this. You've certainly heard this in some songs. Gallop, a very, very common strumming pattern. And this pattern is based on 16th notes. Hey, twice as many of them in a measure as there are of eighth notes. I just want you to focus on the gallop. The way it's counted, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. That's not so hard to remember, all right? 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. Notice here, I'm strumming down on the numbers, 1. I'm strumming down on the and I'm strumming up on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you just want to get used to that, get used to flowing measure after measure. Okay, that's the gallop. A lot of fun. Okay, exercise 3 is a rhythm pattern that's pretty common. I call it 3 per measure. And we're going to have a 1 and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. It's a little bit tricky to count it. I hope you'll just feel it. It's a very common pattern. That's the 3 per measure pattern. You're going to find it in a lot of songs. All right? There you go. There's some strumming patterns to work on.